Yo guys, what is up? It's your boy Snoot, back with some new loot, and today we're taking a look at the Barbarian's Iron Martyr set. First, a bit of preamble. The hallmark of a truly masterful piece of art is that it evokes a feeling in the beholder. This is the first set that I saw when I started playing Diablo 4 that made me feel something, though I wasn't able to articulate it at the time. And I didn't pull the trigger on buying this because it was $25, it didn't have any particle effects, but this was the first encounter that I had that made me understand, at least at an emotional level, that I was looking at something that transcended the cosmetic assets of a game into the realm of art, though I didn't really understand it at the time. I just said, oh, it looks pretty cool, but there's something more to it. I'll try to express what I felt later, but as always, let's start with the flavor text. Those who endure may triumph, though the exact origin of this armor is lost to the annals of time. Some scholars believe it dates back to the Sin War. Alright, so you get 5 pieces of equipment, tattoo, and the two-handed axe and two-handed polearm skins for $25. Let's take a look at the boots in the shop viewer because they're easier to see there with the lighting. Jump ahead a little bit. You can see it along the side. Look at the tip. You have these 3 huge spikes and the rivulets of blood flowing between the creases in the boots, making it look very menacing and grim. There we are from the front. And here it is again from the back. You've got those cool locks, and more on that later. The locks along the calves. So those are your boots. Let's jump into the game. So I wrote a little bit. I'm going to read it for you. So I'm very serious when I say that, I kind of feel something when I look at these sets. So here we go. A willing and selfless submission to an inevitable fate of untold horror and suffering, from which the only return would be to the dirt of the earth, an uncarryable burden, borne with unmatched stoicism, a will unyielding, imposing strength unfaltering, indefatigable endurance unbreakable, withstanding even the ravages of time, centuries. As civilization rose and fell, he stood firm, and to this very day his weapons at ready. The blades, be they dull, their strike still true. Woe be to all who challenge this martyr, his name along with his valor long forgotten. So I kind of think when I look at this set, it just screams to me that he's standing in front of his enemy, a demon or whatever, and he says, I shall not be returning, nor shall you. So the theme, I think, I'm going to give it a theme, is suffering within and without. The man or the warrior inside of this iron prison is suffering, but he's going to make anyone who faces him suffer as well. All right, let's take a look at each piece individually. So I just need to jump in game. Here we go. Let's start with the helmet. The use of color here is amazing. So you have this iron. You can tell that this is it's green rust. So this is bronze. If this were cleaned up, all of this would be bronze. But you have this green rust, which kind of tells you what the age is. But even though it's an ancient piece of armor, this is fresh blood. So it plays with this color. You know that it's old, but how can the blood be fresh? And you can see where the blood is. It's like along the faceplate, along these openings, which makes you wonder, is the blood coming from the knight who's on the inside of it or from his enemies? But if it's fresh blood, how can his armor be this old? So it's a really interesting play. Same thing for the arms here. So where's this blood coming from? Is this the blood of his enemies, or is the material, this leather, I believe, is it cutting so deeply into the flesh of its arm that it's bleeding? And again here, this is the two-handed axe. Now you see along the inside of the blade, you have the blood on the inside. Where is that coming from? Look at the glove. Let's take a look at this glove. Here's the fresh blood. So if he were bleeding, the blood were coming from him, it would make sense that it's running out along the edge, the inner edge of this blade. Then it makes total sense because the outside, where he would hit an enemy, is clean. All right, so it's a very interesting use of both the color to display the age of this armor set, but the blood telling you that, hey, there's something alive in here and something is happening right now. So I really like that. Let's go back to the helmet. Everything about this set screams of function. So it's dull, like a lot of these blades, including both of the two-handed weapon skins. This is not sharp. It's deadly, but there's a kind of a feeling of dullness, but also brutality. Well, what I mean by that, I'm not just making up words here. Let's go to, if I jump down here. Now, if we take a look at this blade, we need to put it on the back to see it properly. There we go. Now, look at the blade from both angles, right here. You can tell that this is not like a very sharp edge. It's fat and it's blunt. There is some sharpness there, but it's not really sharp like a sword. And it has these spikes coming off of it. So this is not a cutting weapon. This is a weapon of torture. You're going to get gory, gushing, nasty wounds if you cut someone with it, if you hit someone with this. Same here. You've got like these spikes. So this is a gory weapon. Really nasty stuff. Okay, and second theme, of course, are these locks everywhere and these chains. What does that say about this set? It says this is a one-way trip. The knight who volunteered or was conscripted or wherever, probably volunteered, to put on this armor knew he wasn't coming back, and those who put this armor on him made sure that he would be resigned to his fate by making sure that he couldn't take this off. Like the only way you're taking this off is in the arms of Father Inarius. He'll take them off for you. Okay, let's jump back to the armor and go back. So you have these blades. So even the helmet, everything screams it's a weapon. So you would headbutt a demon or whatever, whoever's standing against you, even that. And here you have to lock that this helmet is not coming off. If you shoulder block, you got these spikes. They'd probably be more functional on the side, but if you could somehow hit your enemy with the ones on the top, that wouldn't feel good. These blades on the left, that would be more of like kind of a body blocking kind of weapon. And the skull along the front. Skulls are also a repeating theme. Let's look at the waist. Look at these chains, like the chains in the blood that appear to be coming from inside of the armor. Oh yeah, so this right here, the artists here think that they can make shout outs to real life art without raising any suspicion. So let me show you what that is. Okay, just give me a second. And yeah, there we go. So that's Edvard Munch's The Scream. You can look that up. He was a Norwegian artist. So that's where I believe that's like a dead ringer for The Scream. So there's your shout out from the artist Blizzard to a real life artist. And let's just hide that. Gotta hide the right thing. There we go. All right, now let's jump back in. You have these hooks, like along the so where you would normally have in the other sets, you have like a cloth kind of like a loincloth hanging down. Instead, you've got these chains and these hooks. They don't look functional to me. How would you use these as a weapon? Not quite sure. but they do lend to the like the meanness and the menacingness of this set. And these hooks, I could imagine that these hooks would kind of like hook into these loops, but that doesn't really lend to any function. On the legs, check this out. You got this chalice here, a shield and a chalice, and two spikes. The boots, you have more spikes and locks. I think what's sacrificed here, so instead of elaborate detail, as we see in the more elegant sets, you have like violence and age and kind of like like an ancient warrior who's persisted through the ages kind of thing going on here. And it's one of their earlier sets, and I've noticed that their earlier sets are more simple in design, though this one is kind of elaborate. It's not as elaborate as some of the earlier videos, the cloth pieces, but it has quite a bit going on. It's just not as much to speak of as the cloth pieces. But I can appreciate these themes of being trapped into an inescapable war from which there is no return. Okay, now let's take a look at the other skin, the other weapon skin, the two-handed axe. Oh, sorry, that was the two-handed axe. We're going to take a look at the pole arm. Thing is huge, so it's kind of difficult to see. We're going to have to get it onto the back. And I think we can just choose a different weapon, and then it goes on to the back. So you have a skull here, and then you have these two prongs. This is a pole arm, which is a thrusting weapon, but this is more like a bashing weapon because there's no pointy end. The points are from the side, so how would this be used in battle? Unless you were to smash it on top of the enemy as if it were a sword or a bashing weapon. So you have this loop, which is almost reminiscent of its sun if you think of these blades or rays coming off as a sun. And I think that would fit the Inarius theme. All right, now let's take a look at the color palette. Have we gone over all the skulls and all the locks? So I think you can see them. They're pretty front and center and easy to see. Skulls and locks and chains, blood. Now let's take a look at the color palette. The recolors lose a lot of the artistic communication. The impact, the emotional impact goes away. Let's turn that bad boy around. And now let's take a look at the tattoos. See that the default is already blood slick, and we have another fresh blood, so let's see what's different between these two. They look identical. Yeah, so the default coloring is the slick blood. Let's turn this around. Now you've probably noticed something with the front that I will show you in a moment, just in case you didn't catch it. Okay, so look on the outside of the other side of the skull. This resembles the pole arm. So you have the pole arm is kind of reflected in this tattoo. There's a resemblance there. All right, let's take this bad boy out for a spin, along with Edward Munch's the screen. That's a statue that you never want to see move. Oh man, look at that speed. This is a guy who's trying to get to the bathroom. So let's first go to the shop. Yeah, my inventory is full, so I had to drop that on the ground. Here you are standing at the merchant. At the chest. Blacksmith. And at the occultist. Let's take it to the training grounds, boys. We'll have to do a second, there's your transition screen. We'll have to do a second trip for the two-handed axe. Alright, we're going to need an attack that will use the weapon. Hold on. There we go. Now let's go grab our axe. No, you know what I should have did? Let's go back in there. Like, what are you doing? You should have done whirlwind. You would be right. There we go. Yeah, you can't see the weapon. Too bad. I'm going to swap this out. Let's go again. We're going to have to get that transition screen. I'll do that in a moment. That looks better. There's, well, let's try that again. Well, it looks like it's already loaded, so I'm not getting a good transition screen. But we can fix that. I think we can. Let's just go somewhere. Then go back. There we go. Alright guys, this set is $25. If you have artistic appreciation like I do, and you're willing to pay for something like this even though it doesn't have a lot of sparklies, then this is this set for you. Alright, talk to you guys later. Snoop is out.